Hi everyone, it's Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 425 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. The Washington Post informs that Ukrainian intelligence had planned a massive strike on Moscow on the anniversary of the full-scale invasion on February 24th, but abandoned it at the request of the US, reports Ukrainska Pravda. According to the media, Kirilo Budanov, chief of Ukraine's defense intelligence, planned bold strikes deep behind enemy lines, including in Moscow and Russian Black Sea port city of Novorossiysk. Back in Washington, officials were secretly monitoring the Ukrainians' plans and were worried that attacks inside Russia could provoke an aggressive response from the Kremlin. On February 22nd, 2 days before the anniversary, the CIA circulated a new classified report that stated that Ukraine's defense intelligence had agreed at Washington's request to postpone strikes. Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the president's office of Ukraine, responded to this, saying that such publications create a false image of Kyiv as unreasonable, infantile, and impulsive, dangerous for adults to trust with serious weapons. He added that whether this is done consciously or unconsciously is yet another question. Chief of Ukraine's defense intelligence Kirilo Budanov believes that Russia will not launch a nuclear attack when Ukrainian forces enter occupied Crimea, reports RBK Ukraine. In an interview, Budanov said that Russian propaganda will present the loss of Crimea as a forced measure, just like it was with the Kherson region. Budanov informed that Russia has been stockpiling long-range missiles to disrupt the Ukrainian counter-offensive later on. He said that the Russians have been amassing missiles to disrupt the offensive operation for a month now, and they will mostly hit the groups of troops that will be built up by Ukraine. The chief of Ukraine's defense intelligence said that Ukraine is approaching a key battle in modern history. Budanov added that this battle will take place this spring. He stressed that Ukraine's fate is in Ukraine's hands. Intelligence chief commented on the volumes of aid Ukraine gets by saying that Kyiv would like them to be higher, but it will work with what it has. Budanov believes it is unlikely that Ukraine's partners will slow down their support, but even if one country will, another one will help out. We would really appreciate if you could rate us in the apps where you are listening to this podcast: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This will help more people to find highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. U.S. National Security Coordinator for Strategic Communications John Kirby believes that Russian troops may start an offensive on several fronts as weather conditions in Ukraine improve, reports Voice of America. He added that the U.S. doesn't know exactly where or how they'll do that. Kirby stressed that Washington wants to make sure that the Ukrainians are able to better defend themselves against that, and if they choose offensive operations of their own, that they've got the capabilities to conduct those. According to the Wall Street Journal, Iran supplied over 300,000 artillery shells and 1 million rounds of ammunition to Russia in the past 6 months, reports Militarny. The media sources informed that supplies are conducted by Russian ships across the Caspian Sea. The US may look for a way to prevent it from happening, but needs support from former Soviet republics on the Caspian coast. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky visited the Zhytomyr region together with Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas, reports Interfax Ukraine. Zelensky held a meeting on security, socio-economic and political situation in the region. The president of Ukraine said, in accordance with the information he has, there are no threats of attack from Belarus today. Zelensky also informed that since the start of the large-scale war, Ukraine rescued 2,238 people from Russian captivity, over 140 of them civilians. He thanked Estonia for its military support and for promoting the need to help Ukraine among other partners. The state-owned gas and oil company of Ukraine, Naftogaz, hopes to engage large American oil groups ExxonMobil, Halliburton, and Chevron in energy projects, primarily gas extraction in Ukraine, reports Ekonomichna Pravda. According to Naftogaz CEO Oleksiy Chernyshev, the company aims to increase gas production, which Ukrainian officials believe could help replace Russian supplies to Europe in the coming years. He added that Kyiv understands the complications of operating during the war and is working on insurance mechanisms to protect the capital of private investors. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we're getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.